Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoben.com. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. On today's show, I am going to be talking about working through fear and doing the thing that makes you the most afraid, because we never grow or learn if we don't step outside our comfort zone. So the message that I have been receiving that I need to share with all of you is how to find your inner strength to face the things that are causing you the most fear. So if you're new, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So a lot of us think that we are daring and we try new things, and maybe sometimes we do, but many times we get stuck inside our own little safe bubble. We don't venture too far outside of it because that's scary. And that might be triggering for some of us to have to step outside our comfort zone. And if you have anxiety, which many people do, it really is not all uncommon for you to have anxiety. Almost everyone I know has it. In fact, I had it and didn't know it for many years. I would do little quirky things, and then I went to a counselor one time and she was like, "Oh yeah, you have anxiety." I was like, "Why is this the first I'm hearing it? You're not the first counselor I've ever gone to." But your anxiety might act up in ways where, let's say you want to try a new place and it's far away and it might be in the city and you don't know what parking is going to be like and you hate parallel parking and you're not really sure about all of that whole situation. So you just don't even go because you don't even want to have to deal with the parking situation. That's something that I used to do. And so I know that that was anxiety, right? Like, oh, I'd love to go to that new club, but if I do that, then I have to figure out where I'm going to park, and then I have to walk by myself into the club, and then I'm going to look weird, and I have to wait until somebody else arrives. In fact, I had a date one time where the date was like, "Can you wait in your car until I get there and so we can walk in together?" And to me, I'm like, oh, wow, like that's worse anxiety than I have, because yeah, it's kind of awkward to walk into a place by yourself, but I'm willing to do that. Like, I'm not that bad. So a lot of us have crippling anxiety sometimes, and that's totally becoming the norm because many of us are exposed to trauma, and then our brain tells us different things, like that we need to be hyper vigilant, and our amygdala is in overdrive. So we're always in this fight or flight mode. And many of us are just surviving there. Like, we're not really thriving in life because we're just stuck there going, my anxiety is taking over, right? I'm overthinking this to the point that I'm making myself miserable. And that keeps us stuck. So when you don't deal with what's causing the anxiety, and you don't deal with learning new ways to cope with it and to get through it, because anxiety, even though you have it and it can be very debilitating, there are a lot of awesome tools out there to help you live with it. And in most cases, even it decreases a lot using tools that have been shown to really, it's the processing of your brain. It shows that it reverses all of the stuff that was going on in your brain that was causing you to feel this panic and anxiety in the first place. And mindfulness is one of those things. And so doing the things like EFT tapping and meditations and all of those things, that helps the anxiety. So the first step before deciding that, hey, I want to try something, I want to step outside my comfort zone and I want to do something new, is that you might need to try to figure out how to get a handle on the anxiety. Because it's my personal opinion that fear and anxiety are what keep people the most stuck in life. And I get it. I totally understand, because that was me. When I got out of college, I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to get a job where I would have to travel. But my anxiety level was so high, and I listened to family members who are like, well, we'll never see you if you travel, and you won't like it. You won't like being away from home. That I talked myself out of getting a job like that. I just didn't even do it. I went against the very thing I knew I wanted to do in my life because I listened to everyone else but myself, and I let my own fear, worry, and anxiety get the best of me. And I don't want that to happen to anybody who's out there listening, because life was meant for you to love it, to thrive, to enjoy it. And if you're living in a place where you're afraid to step outside your comfort zone, you're afraid to try something you've always really wanted to try, then I'm here to tell you that is no way to live. And it's time for you to take control back and to learn how to get a handle on the anxiety so that you can go out and experience all of the things that you deserve to experience. Now, the anxiety part, you may need to get help with that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. A lot of useful tools out there, and seeing a counselor is great because honestly, a great way to deal with anxiety is to work through it and to be able to talk about what's bothering you and what's going on and where it stems from, and to be able to do the deep diving inner emotional work to heal from it. I truly believe that that's one of the greatest things you can do if you really want to get a handle on your mental health, is to work through it with someone, a professional, whether that be a counselor or a coach or whatever. It's important that you work through it. It's important not only to know why you're suffering from anxiety and fear, but also how to deal with it and how to fix it, because anxiety and fear will cause you to do all kinds of things like self-sabotage. So you may sabotage in relationships. You may push people away and not realize you're doing it because it's a trauma response. So it's important to get a handle on that first. And then once you can deal with the anxiety and trauma, the next step is to really look at what are you not doing in your life that if you felt like the bravest person in the world, you would do and you'd want to do. I was thinking about this because last night we went to karaoke. And karaoke, isn't that an interesting thing? What's funny about it is the more you have to drink, the braver you get, right? Or you just don't care, you forget, like you lose that inhibition, nobody cares. And you can see that as the night progresses. You know, when you first start off at karaoke, there's like one singer maybe, and it's someone who loves singing and they're very confident in what they do. They probably are in a choir, you know, because they don't care. They're just out there singing and having a good time. But as the night gets on, it's more people who have been drinking, and then they get up there and you can tell like they just don't care. And some of them are terrible and they don't care. And it's funny, of course, it's funny to sit and watch, but it's because they've lost the thing, that trigger in their brain that tells them you should be afraid of going up and singing. They don't have that going on in their brains. And so that's one reason I think why a lot of people will turn to substances to give them the courage that they're lacking in their life when they're sober. I think a lot of people do that. I mean, you hear about musicians all the time who have to drink before they go out and perform in a show because they're scared. Even the most amazing musicians sometimes get scared. You know, their fear kicks in because they're performing in front of so many people. And it's understandable. But we can't allow fear to keep us stuck. We need to be like those people who get up at karaoke at the end of the night and don't care who's around listening and singing the worst, most off-key song ever and thinking they're sounding amazing. Like, we need to have that kind of courage. We need to have the courage of drunk karaoke people as we go about life. And of course, I'm joking, but not really. We really should have confidence in ourselves. Many of us lack that end of the night, drunk karaoke kind of confidence, but we need to pull somehow within us to find every little bit of confidence that we have, to try new things. It's amazing because all of the times I was afraid to do something, I knew I had to do it. It was like, oh, you're afraid of that? Well, you better go do it. I can't really explain why I've always felt that way and why I've always behaved that way. I just have. So whenever I would see the big ride where you free fall, I would say, that scares me to death. I'm going to go ride it. And I would be terrified the whole time. And the whole time I'd have butterflies. I'd want to throw up even before I got on the ride. And then I would get on the ride and it was such a rush and it was always so fun. There's almost never been a time when I've gotten on a ride and I was like, oh, well, I hated every minute of that. I mean, there have been occasions, but most of the time, if I try something, afterwards, it was worth it, right? Like, oh, that was great. And you don't lose when you try things, because even if you try something, you're like, well, that wasn't what I thought it was. Now you don't spend all this time wondering and wishing and hoping you had done it. We don't want to wish our life away. It's time to start doing the things that you've always wanted to do. And I think that the more it scares you, the more you should try to do it. That's going to sound weird. I know it is. But usually that thing that's scaring you is the thing the universe is throwing in front of you going, you got to give it a try. You got to try it. You will never know unless you try it. And never in my life have I ever done anything where later, even if it didn't work out, I was like, I wasted time, or I did this. And it's an experience. Sometimes it's a positive, awesome experience. And you're like, yeah, I would totally do that again. And sometimes it's an experience where you're like, wow, that was very underwhelming and I don't ever need to do that again. But you learn something, and you learn something about yourself. And personally, I think you learn how incredibly strong you can be, how versatile you can be. And it gives you a boost of confidence to try new things. As weird as that sounds, it almost sounds like, yeah, that's counterproductive. But if you do the thing that you're afraid to do and you survive it, it gives you a boost in your confidence. Like, hey, look, I took a chance on this. I tried it and I survived it. And in fact, I loved it and I'm going to go and do it again. So that's awesome. It was a win-win situation. I have so many people who come to me after they've had a reading or whatever, and they'll say, I waited so long to book this reading with you because I was afraid of what you were going to say. Which always makes me smile a little bit, because I think people think I'm just going to say like, yeah, you're doomed, your life's over, like you got all this bad stuff coming. I don't work that way. I want you to find everything out that you need to find out. However, I always ask that it be done in a positive way. And so there's something we can learn and grow, and I'm not going to sit there and give you all this bad news. That's just not how it works. But even my mom, like I would say to her, oh, I'll pull some cards for you, or I'll do a reading. And she would say, no, I don't want you to. I don't want to know what you're going to say, which is so silly. But that's how much fear can keep us stuck, because people will even offer you free things and you're like, nah, I don't want to do that because I just don't know how that's going to turn out. But people do it all of the time. Or you get open invitations for things and you're like, nah, I'm not going to do it. Like me, like getting invited to go to a club, and I'm like immediately thinking to myself, oh, I wonder how far away that is. Is there going to be traffic? Am I going to have to find parking? Am I going to have to pay for parking? What's going on here? And I'm turning something that would probably be the most fun evening ever into something that I'm dreading, because I let my anxiety and fear take over and just get the best of me. And I think many of us do that in many situations. So how can you step outside of that fear and do the things that you want to do that really kind of scare you? How do we do that? So the first thing that I think you need to do is just acknowledge the fact that you have fear. Instead of just being like, yeah, I'm not afraid. Acknowledge it. When you allow yourself to sit with your fear, then it's like, you know what you're dealing with, right? Like, okay, I know I have this fear. I know I have to work with this fear. And you can truly feel how strong this fear really is. Is this just a small fear I have, or is this like a crippling fear that I have? Acknowledge it. It's important we acknowledge our feelings. And then accept the fact that you're scared. It's okay to be scared. It's not like it's a bad thing. We all face fear in life. Everyone has fear. It's just a natural thing. So feel the strength that comes from accepting that you're afraid of something. It's okay. It's perfectly understandable and okay to be afraid of this. Just acknowledge that and let yourself feel that. You don't have to experience toxic positivity all the time and be like, I don't have to be afraid. Nobody's telling you that. Acknowledge it. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of trying new things. I accept that. I've always been afraid to try new things. I know this, and it's perfectly okay. Then commit to making some sort of change. When you accept it and you leave behind the energy of fear, then you can start to commit to yourself and say, okay, I'm going to make change starting now. And it doesn't have to be like a huge change. People think, oh, if I want to change my life, I've got to start by overhauling everything. No, you don't. Take it one step at a time. If you do that, you're more likely to stick to and commit to change. Because people who just do everything all at once, I mean, it's great if you want to do that, go for it. But if you're trying to really stick to change and to plan to make changes in your life, you usually have to do it one step at a time. Because it's easier to manage and you can hold yourself to it. So commit that you're going to start making change. And then plan how you're going to make the change. Maybe it's tomorrow I am going to go and apply for that job I've always wanted. Or I'm going to look at schools and what it would take to change careers and to do the thing I've always wanted to do. Or maybe it's something as simple as I'm going to go to that new restaurant I've been afraid to try because I didn't know if I'd like the food. It can be simple or it can be something big, but make a plan. Because if you do a big thing, like I'm going to change everything starting tomorrow, you might overwhelm yourself. Just make a plan to make small changes that you can sustain every day. And then take action. Every single day, take some sort of action to work toward your goal. If you made a plan and the plan didn't work, go back and rewrite it. Okay, maybe it didn't work for me to go and apply for the job because I felt overwhelmed. Maybe I need to learn more about how to write a good resume. Maybe I need to back up a little and do a few steps before that big step I was taking. That's okay too. And it's okay to admit that something you didn't work. I do that all the time. When I'm in my classroom, if I have a lesson and it sucked, I just admit that to myself. I'll be like, well, that was terrible. But you're not going to do that again, are you? Well, how could you have made that better? It's all about reflection and making tweaks and adjustments because you have to. Life throws curveballs at you and we're not always ready for them. So sometimes we have to go and make adjustments, and that's okay too. Have patience with yourself and have patience with the process because it is a process. And it's perfectly okay to have to start over sometimes. Celebrate every little win you have. If you tried something new and it was awesome, pat yourself on the back and celebrate that. Or if you tried something new and you're like, yeah, I don't need to do that again, celebrate that. I tried something. I didn't like it, but I tried it, and now I don't ever have to try it again. Celebrate all of your little wins because it's going to keep you going, keep you moving, and keep you positive. Go back and look at what you've done too. Again, if you need to make changes, alter your plan, go back and do it, great. What's working, what's not working? And then stick to it until the end. Stick to it until the end because fear is a very powerful emotion. It can stall you and it can stop you, but it's a choice you make every single day to allow fear to stall you or to stop you. If you're feeling like you're in the grips of fear, do a quick tapping. The EFT tappings are great. Overcoming fear. Do a guided meditation. Do your affirmations. Do all of the things you need to do that are going to keep you on the right track. Whether or not we truly believe it, everyone deals with fear at some point in their lives. And for most people, every day we deal with fear. The difference between those who are successful and those who never realize their dreams is that those who are successful made a choice that they were not going to quit. That's the only difference sometimes, is that determination, that will of mind and spirit. And it's tough because if things don't go your way right away, you may want to quit and give up. You got to keep going. There have been so many times whenever I've been doing podcasting and I've wanted to give up because I thought, oh, you're not making any difference and oh, somebody just posted something negative about your podcast. I guess you should just quit and give up because nobody likes you. That's the fear talking, right? That's totally the fear talking. And when I realized, like, I have my moment, my little meltdown moment, and then I realized, no, your mission, you've always said this, was if you help one person, keep going. And of course, right about that time, the universe will send someone along who will make a comment like, oh, thank you for your topic today. It was so helpful. And it's like, okay, there's your sign. Pull yourself together. You can do this. Don't let the negative naysayers get to you. You know why you're doing this. Keep going. Sometimes we need a cheerleader. Everybody needs a little cheerleader. Wouldn't it be nice if we could have a little pocket cheerleader walking around with us going, yeah, you can do it. That would be great. And if I could figure out a way how I could do that, that would be fantastic. But until then, you know who motivates you. You know who inspires you. Keep tapping into those sources. Keep tapping into all the tools that are out there that help you from day to day. You've got this. You can do this. You are amazing. You're going to be fantastic. Keep going. I'm in your corner. If you want to work with me, I would love to help you reach your full potential. Just reach out to me. You can book a free discovery call with me by going to my website, melissaoatman.com, or you can just reach out to me. I have people who are like, I don't want to jump on a video call, but can I just text you? Sure, absolutely. I'd love to hear from you. Or if you just want to talk to me, love to hear from you. Love talking to my listeners. I hope you have a fantastic day. I really do. And know there are so many resources out there for you. There really, truly are so many resources. I have some online courses, and I also have Patreon, which if you join, you get 2 extra bonus episodes a week, or you join the all-inclusive package, then you also get other things like readings, guided meditations, videos of my interviews with my guests, all kinds of cool stuff. I'd love to have you over there too. So check that out, Patreon. The link is in the show notes. You can click on it and go join us. I'd love to have you there. So I wanted to pull a card for you today, and you cannot make this stuff up. You seriously cannot make this stuff up. I pulled the card, I didn't look at it, and then I decided what the topic was going to be. And then I looked at the card, and the card is, what is stopping you? You cannot make this up. This card is from my deck, Divine Whispers, which you can still purchase on my website also if you're interested. But the card is what is stopping you, exactly what we've been talking about. That pesky fear is stopping you. What is holding you back today? The universe wants you to know that it is time to stop letting people or your own fears keep you stuck. When you are tapped into your intuition, you can't make a wrong decision. The only bad decision you can make is not moving at all. What is holding you back today? Summon the courage that I know is deep within you and take the first step today. You've got this. You have everything you need right now to be successful. You are being divinely guided and protected right now. I love that. And your daily mantra that goes along with these cards, there are several of them. One is, I have confidence in my own ability. I have everything I need to be successful. I don't have to have all of the answers today. I am divinely guided. I am following my intuition. Oh, I love those so much. And I tell you what, doing those daily affirmations is so helpful. And I still do them. And there are times when I'm having a rough day, I just open up my phone and go to Pinterest where I have all of my saved daily mantras and I just start saying them. And they can quickly shift your mood from having a really bad day to, I can do this, I can get through this, it's going to be okay. So many tools out there that are awesome to help you. Make sure that you're using them. And make sure you're being gentle and kind with yourself. This is a process and it doesn't happen overnight and it doesn't happen easily. So have patience with yourself and keep going because you're amazing. And I know you're going to do amazing things. I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. As always, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. Please leave a positive review from wherever you're listening. And the greatest compliment you can pay me is to share this podcast with anyone you think might enjoy it. Don't forget to follow me on social media. I go live Mondays at 6:30 Central on Facebook, where I do a free card reading. And if you show up for the live, I'll pull a card especially for you. And again, if you want to work with me, just go to my website. You can see all the services I offer. It's just melissaoatman.com. You can book a free discovery call with me. You can purchase everything online. I would love to work with you. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day and a beautiful day from wherever you're listening. As always, I am sending you so much love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.